So, Andrew, we're going to start with you this evening. We're going to start with Drake Maye to begin with. A 3-year college career at North Carolina, 8,018 yards, a 64.9% completion percentage, 63 touchdowns, 16 interceptions in his career at North Carolina. He seems like a guy that he's been talked about a lot over the past few months. But give us your take on how you feel about Drake Maye.
Yeah, I do honestly believe that if Caleb Williams wasn't in this draft, he would be the #1 pick for me. I think in terms of analysing players and looking how good they are, when you just take away the name and just look at him as a prospect and you go, what? He's 6'4", he's 225 pounds, he's got a real strong arm, he's got mobility. When you look at those things, they're all the things that can go right. If he can do that at that level, at the college level, which he did. A lot of people are saying like it wasn't good enough for what he was expected to do, but he was better than the likes of Josh Allen and people like that at college, and he's a similar prototype to them. And I think when you take those tangibles and go, yeah, that's an NFL quarterback, and when you get in with the NFL coaches, I think that's when he'll start to produce. He's been under center there for quite a while now, and I think he's shown the ability to that some other quarterbacks don't. His ability to read the field, his ability to step up into the pocket and make the field bigger rather than jetting out to the sides like we see in the modern day, while rolling out and making the pitch smaller. So for me, if Caleb Williams isn't in this, Drake Maye is the #1 pick in this draft.
Adam, one of the players that Andrew mentioned there who's been a sort of comp of him is Josh Allen. And one of the big things that people said about quarterbacks like Josh Allen that have gone into is their rawness. They're quite raw quarterbacks. They've got a lot of molding, a lot of shaping to happen with them. Do you think Drake Maye's capable of that in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got... It feels that with Maye, there's... To me, anyway, it feels like there's two potentials where he could go. He could become this sort of Josh Allen type quarterback who, he's very accurate. He's got great mechanics. He needs to learn how to slide. That's something that would be useful because he wasn't very good at that in college, a little bit like Josh Allen. So, this is something that these are things that you can see why they come out and say that. The other comp that gets put out a lot, and I think this is more because of how the team was structured and what happened, is Will Levis. The fact that he kind of had this sort of like, strong arm, stays in the pocket quite a lot. But it's not like, I mean, he did lose a lot of players around him in his final year. And so I think a lot of people have come out and sort of like criticised him unfairly because of that. I also think he gets criticised as not being a rushing quarterback, which he actually is. If you actually look at it, he can run. He does have that ability. A lot of people say that he's not that purely because he has got Caleb Williams in this class. You have got Jaden Daniels in this class. So I think that's more the reason that gets put away from him. But yeah, to me, and you're going to hear this a lot from me when it comes to the quarterbacks in this episode, they all need to sit. I genuinely think they all do need to sit a year. I think maybe Caleb Williams will be okay to be able to deal with it because he is that special. But the rest of them, if they all go in starting quarterback day one, I do think they will struggle a little bit. And, you saw that with Josh Allen, didn't you? He struggled a little bit at the beginning, give him a few years getting used to it. And now look what you've got. So I think he needs time. I think he could do with a really solid veteran in there with him, which I don't think he's really going to have. I don't know. It's not too bad. If he goes where we think he's going to go, then it's not too bad for him, but it's not amazing. But yeah, he has loads of potential.
Well, I'll carry on with Adam there, because you did sort of say that there has been this negativism about him not almost being athletic enough and being rushing enough. I mean, he's coming at 6'5". He's big and strong. I mean, in a quarterback era now where we're seeing them getting smaller, skinnier. I'm not talking like, I know Kyler Murray's under 6 feet and a sort of more slender players, I suppose, which is more a description of Jaden Daniels. Do you think is it a bit of it's strange now in the NFL world that we look at a body type like Drake Maye and it almost is a negative in a way?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, it feels like they sort of like. I think some teams look at him as a bit of a throwback. I think there is a potential for that, and almost like I think it's a bad thing to do. I don't think you should. I mean, he clearly has rushing capability, and that is something that can be used. I look at him as though he's the ideal kind of rusher because he has the potential to do it, but he doesn't do it all the time, and he doesn't need to lean on it. And I think that's the difference where teams need to look at it in that way. It's almost like, I mean, think of it. I mean, I can take it from a Green Bay point of view. Jordan Love can run. He can run, but the idea is that he's an accurate passer, and that's what he's best at, and that's basically what made them a success and did a lot better than what we thought they were going to do this year. So I think some teams do look at that. They do sort of go, "Oh, the new hotness is the rushing quarterback, and we need to make sure that we have that, and that's becoming more important." But I do think it's a bad thing. It's something that they shouldn't be doing, because if it was me, I'd want a quarterback who can be accurate and throw the ball first, and then was a rusher second as an add-on.
I mean, we're not looking at him as an old school Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, sort of Philip Rivers stand in the pocket.
I think some people do, though.
No, come on. This guy's got quickness. He's got speed. I would class him as a dual threat scrambler, if you like. Not that dual threat long speed like you're getting from Lamar. I think that's a bit of an anomaly. But, he's athletic. He's mobile. Like Josh Allen, would you say he's just a big statue that stands in the pocket and pass? No, because he has the rushing yards that go with it. And another young guy that we're talking about being a massive prospect in the NFL is Justin Herbert, and he's got very similar attributes to Herbert as well. So I don't think we're saying this guy is an old statue that stands in the pocket and that's all he can do. I think he's that more modern, big build quarterback, which I think there's still a massive place in the league for. We're not always looking for Lamar every single time, are we? We're not looking for, Mahomes' ability is what we're saying with Caleb Williams. When he rolls out of the pocket, he's dangerous when he's not in it. So I don't think necessarily we're looking for quarterbacks to be scrambling all over the place. And I think he fits well.
Do you think
I do think some teams are.
But this is what I was going to say, actually, on top of that, is do you think some of this negativity is coming because of sort of draft attrition? I can't think of the word. What's the word that everyone uses?
Sort of like the mock drafts and what analysts are saying.
Yeah. We've gone on. Yeah, the amount of time that he's been gone about that he's going to be the number 2. He's going to be number 2, and now it's like, well, is he going to be number 2? This has happened to Justin Fields. Is a massive example of this that happened to him. This draft attrition where people over talk about him so much that then we sort of start to doubt ourselves in a way.
Yeah, I think there probably is a little bit of that, because, I mean, if you think about it, last year there wasn't massive hype around Will Levis until we got towards quite close to the draft, and then all of a sudden he shot up the boards, and then obviously on draft day he was left sitting there looking a bit glum for most of the first round. So yeah, I mean, I do think
first round, the whole first round.
Yeah, I was being nice. I was being nice about it. But yeah, I think it does happen, and also I think that people look at what he did in his last season at college. It wasn't as great, so therefore the improvement hasn't happened how you want it to happen, and so therefore they've got a reason. They've got something that they can come out and say, "Oh yeah, but look at how it didn't work in the last year." And it's an unfair criticism, because most of his supporting players had gone off to college, gone off to the NFL and stuff like that, and that's the difference. And so yeah, I do think there is a little bit of that in it. Yeah.
Well, that was one of the pros that I put down, is he did do it without notable talent for the most part of his college career, and he was very good at that.